Hi guys, welcome to another installment of Becoming a Disruptor. My name's Lakon and this is Paulette. This week we're talking about rewriting the canon. So, as many people may know or don't know, in terms of the publishing industry and writing books and scholarly works, it's been created by academics and it's been created by an industry which has not been inclusive of all of the cultures. It's only been a certain group of people that have had the benefit of building the whole infrastructure. So now when it comes to Paul, let's disappeared. I'm sure she'll reappear. But when it comes to, it's all good. Welcome to 21st century women's. But what we found is when we started looking at the data points when it comes to getting books from people from underrepresented backgrounds involved and their works published, there's a barrier and there's a gap and there's a big disparity. So what we wanted to talk about today is how we can, how myself and Paulette and others are actually rewriting the canon by not only creating works, but also finding ways and innovative ways how to get our published works displayed all around the world and working with different kind of leaders and people to influence how works get distributed. So Paulette, tell us, from your perspective, you're an author of 3 books now, going on 4. So tell us, how have you worked in terms of distribution, getting your works out of, how are you getting your works out? How have you done it?
Well, from the inception, for me, it was all about, I was I self-published and it has been a real journey, but fun and a learning one. I've learned on the way. And after finishing the book, I thought that was it. Yes, I'm happy. That's it. I've done. But actually, that was not even that was the beginning. And what I've done, I've had to be very creative. So I've had to set up different events to showcase my book, being the person that really promote it, talk about what it's about. And remember, I'm quite
Mm.
fortunate because right now everyone's talking about AI. So my book literally came about when the AI revolution started. So really, I've capitalized on that. So literally every single day I get to talk about my book. And I've had the opportunity to do a tour. So I've been, and I've had it in the UK, I've had it in Africa. I went over to the Caribbean, but there was a storm, but we're going back again to
Yeah.
continue that. But it was easier simply because of everyone wants to know about AI, they want to know about STEM, and that's what my book is about. But it's basically talking from a Black woman's perspective. So the only challenges I've really seen is that the other day I was up in Waterloo, I won't say the name of the bookstore, but I saw a gap in the window and I thought my book will look amazing there. So I thought, let me just go and have a conversation, because I've learned that the word no is, for me, it helps me to go to the next level. So I'm not
Mm.
afraid of the word no, and neither should you. And I
Mm.
asked the manager and I told him about my book. He was like, wow, this is amazing. But he said, literally, protocols, he cannot. I'd have to fight. He wanted to know who my publisher, the fact that I self-publish. He was like, oh, because I've done that, I can't, they won't be able to, sell my book. I said, that's okay, fair enough. And I'm thinking, this is really weird. So
Mm.
we can't get into the bookstore, and it would have been great because it's Waterloo and so many people. It was just there, literally by the window, and everybody would be able to see my book. But I thought, you know what? But he did say, you know what? Just create a momentum on, social media and get people to buy it. But fortunately, what's interesting, again, the dynamics is really weird,
Mm.
because a lot of people have been buying my book. Yeah,
Mm.
a lot of people. It's on a lot of people's website, like giving reviews, and people are stopping me. Like, being in the UK, I'm getting stopped every single day. You wrote that book. The aim is to get it on the London Underground billboards, and that's the
Excellent.
aim. But I think
Yeah.
we've got a bit of a way to go. Still got a bit of a way to go, but the dynamics is interesting. So it's not just, even though I'm doing my best, it's my community. If they're not online, yeah,
Mm.
it's not being blocked, there's no way it's going to be a struggle for me, right? And I understand that. That's why I'm not upset anymore. I'm okay. Yeah, because
Right,
I'm
right, right.
understanding the challenges, the blocks. So my thing is, I'm going abroad. Yeah, even in Africa, the challenges, we have a low literacy rate, so I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's just interesting. It's a learning curve. It took me 18 months to write my book, and that was because it was me. I knew that I could influence myself, I could push, but trying to influence the globe is a challenge. It's a real challenge, and especially my people, if they don't have that skill set and they don't read, yeah, it's a difficult one there. And then you're dealing with the publishers and you're dealing with the gatekeepers, but you know what? I'm enjoying it, and I want to encourage you. If it was that easy for some other people who get it easy, what have they got? There's nothing more for them to do, really. Whereas I'm every single day, and I'm doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's important something that you said about going to the bookstore. Because I'm, for those that know, I'm writing my first book coming out in December, which is exciting. But one thing which I'm grateful for, which I didn't know at the time, is that mainstream bookstores don't put books in their store unless it's through a publisher. But because I'm doing what they call a modern author framework, meaning that I pay in advance for all of the rights and all of the relationship I have with the publisher in advance. It enables me to own all of the rights to a book. But that means when I now go to bookstores, they're more likely to say yes because I've connected with a publisher. It's not a mainstream or a big publisher, it's just a publisher which ticks their box. But again, it's almost like when you're starting the journey of these kind of things, you don't know unless you know. Because it's only literally because I met someone who I interviewed on my show who basically said, oh yeah, this is what I did for my book, you should really do it. And that's the only reason I did it. Whereas, so it's conversations like this, I think, really help when people know that there's more than one way to do it. Because imagine, I've got all these ideas in my head, I want to get out a book, but then what happens is you get put off because it's like, well, I don't have the time to do all this marketing, I don't have the time to do this, and I don't have maybe the money to even pay for, trying to work for a publisher, because it's big money. It's not small change. So I guess my encouragement to people is you have to just keep you have to build your own community, but also connect to others and find out what other people are doing. Because I think the benefit of being online now is that you can connect with people all around the world, and there must be someone that's done what you're trying to do. But you just need to figure out how they've done it. Because like even the other day, side note, I signed up to Patreon. I've never used it before. So Patreon is basically an online platform where you create subscriptions and you can sell digital products and you build a community on there. So imagine, how would I describe it? Imagine Instagram would allow you to create your own. Obviously, I know they do it now, but it's in a kind of a different way. It's more like a LinkedIn timeline. And then you just got all these different creators. You can go on their page and you can just subscribe to all of the stuff that they create. But that's the way that people can build community and fund that. So you'll see a lot of YouTubers, American ones specifically, or Canadian ones, who, based on the success of their YouTube channel, they create a Patreon account so they can get essentially monthly subscription to exclusive content. So building that community that way. So there's now so many ways because of online. But if we don't know and we don't talk about it, no one knows. So you just get put off and you don't even start writing. But we need to write. We really need to get our stuff out there because that's the way that's really going to push the needle.
I mean, I'm writing my 4th book, and I just want to show off a bit. And literally, this is it. Can you see that I've done so much, like that. I've done so much. All this is my written. I typed it up, and the reason why I'm showing off is because I can, and I have the credibility. But I tell you one thing: is by writing, I can't write. I have to write on paper first. I have to write it out on paper. Then I have to type it out. Then I have to print it. Then I have to rewrite it. That's how my mind works. I even bought the other day an iPad with a pen to see if I can, but I can't type on the like. I really can't. My ideas do not flow. I'm a writer anyway. I love writing, but writing this next book is just phenomenal. But because I understand it even more, and I'm able to really share my challenges. Yeah. But within more with more details. And the reason why I'm excited about this is simply because, sometimes in the past where for Black people, and I'm going to be very explicit here, the barriers have been so harsh. And even though we keep going and it gets boring and boring and boring and boring, I'm loving it because I'm seeing the challenges here, especially in the UK. But when I go abroad elsewhere, those challenges are literally removed. It doesn't really exist. It exists on another level, but not on the basic level where just to sometimes even to write your book, you don't even have the environment to do that.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Just to sit quietly, that peace. You could be living in a neighborhood where there's so much going on. You may not even have access to different libraries and so many things because of the external factors. And by me having to work independently, like when I travel, when I go and speak, I could just sit down for 2 hours and just write freely. And that is an opportunity for me to share my ideas, talk about the journey that I'm on. And I'm absolutely loving it. I am going to keep writing. My aim is to write 2 books a year because I think
Wow.
it's so, and even though, like, can you say, wow, and I'm like, oh my God, but I've got throughout the years, and I think that's what had an impact on my mental health because I've done so much since 2000. I've done so much, and I didn't know how to express that. Now I know it's through writing. And literally, as I'm thinking, I'm remembering so many things that I've done, and there's so much more to write about. So a publisher's, a writer's or an author's journey is one where you have to, if you're writing now and you're feeling that, oh my gosh, there's no hope, please don't give up. You know, there are going to be challenges, but embrace it. You know, the best thing is overcoming them. Yeah. And when you're seeing your book cover and you're like, wow, did I do that? But you're going to accomplish that. But there's going to be another hurdle. Then you're going to accomplish that. There's going to be another one. They're going to probably realize that so many of us writing books are going to come up with a different policy or different. It's okay. Just keep writing because it's going to benefit someone in the long run. And that's all I can say to encourage us. Keep writing.
And I was thinking about on the bigger scale as well in terms of writing. And I think people have to get in their mind when you're releasing the book, you have to build more, you have to build an ecosystem around yourself. Like, but it has to be built. So you have to, so one thing I've learned in the course I've done is that I need to have a community of people that know that I'm an author, whether it's friends, family, or people online that like, you know, my posts. So I need to now cultivate that. So that means there has to be regular engagement. So they need to know what I'm doing, what I'm saying, and then we need to have conversation on those platforms.
Yeah.
But that has to be built. So it's because sometimes you just think I'm just going to really have a book, and old school, you know, but once upon a time, someone would just open their boot after church or whatever and say, "I'm selling my book," and they'll just say, "Oh, come to the stall," and they'll just be like distributing their books and doing that way. That was great, but now the world has changed and the world is bigger. So as much as you may seem, well, that's a lot of work. Well, there is a journey of being an author. Like, you, in order to become something, you have to, everything has to be built. So as long as your first book, as long as you do the first one, there'll be a second, third, fourth, and fifth. But then the community that will be the first will just continue to grow. Because really, that's the key. As long as you're building something in mind, or you're creating something that you want to be doing for a long time, then you're going to build something around it where people are going to recognize you in that space, whether it's thought leadership, whether it's just, even if it's like a fiction book, where you're just, people are knowing you for just your creative writing. But it has to be built. You have to build something around you in order to scale what you're doing, because being an author is a scalable business if you know what you're doing, which I am learning.
Definitely. I mean, on Saturday, I briefly passed through Black Tech. I think Dexter Sims, he was is the CEO, and he was running an amazing event for the community. There was a guy who was selling books, so I was quite intrigued. And I was saying, how do I get my book? Because the book was some people, like the authors were Black authors, really interesting books. I saw Leon Marshall, The Hidden Science to Melanin, really good book. I've got it. There's some other powerful, was it Queen Afua and her books, some really key. And I said, why is my book not there? I'm the woman leading in AI, STEM industry. He goes, okay. But the process was really interesting. He's not online. And it was a challenge for me, thinking, well, how am I going to, how are we going to do this? It was really difficult. But one thing I can tell you, he has a big market because he has the community. So who buys from him? So although we are transitioning, online, we still have a big market, especially our community, who's not online and they are still buying. So we have to also think about, when we're building our ecosystem, it's about the adoption rate. What does that look like? How are we going to support our community to transition from going to the not going to, I think it's important to go to these community events, but accessing our books online. What's that process? What do they need? How do we build their confidence? How do we build their self-esteem in digital literacy? So that is another aspect. And thankfully, that's what we're doing with our program, the Be Me Digital Inclusion, is that we're starting from young, but we are building a community where young women can develop their own platforms, one, but understand how to use, join our boot camps, do coding, understand the UX, UI, be graphic designers, be an AI researcher, whatever, data scientist, whatever they want, so that they can be part of the AI revolution. Yeah. What does that include? What does that look like? Because no point us building these amazing platforms and they can't use it. Yeah. Because we're going to be stuck, right? There's going to be a them and us. Yeah. So we have to bring our community on this journey, and it's so important. Yeah. And maybe when someone rewinds our video and watches it and think, oh my gosh, you're right, actually I probably don't know how to even access this platform, but well, you know what, accessing this platform is quite easy. All you have to do is follow like a community. Follow me. Yeah. Join my community, the Be Me community. The information is available on my website, academyachievers.com or .co.uk. You can follow me on my LinkedIn, Paulette Watson MBE, and access.
We're going to talk about that in a minute, actually.
Listen. No one's going to do it for you, Look, we have to promote ourselves. Literally, sometimes it's scary going out there promoting, but if you don't, no one else. We all have to promote ourselves, and then that's when we build.
And that's a good segue, because that's a big problem I think some of us have. I think it's more of I'm learning it's more of a European English thing, or European English. It's an English thing about self-promotion. Americans have no problem saying that this is what I'm doing, this is how much I'm spending, this is how much I'm making, this is what it is. Whereas I feel we're so very like coy and reserved that when it comes to self-promotion, we're really looking for more affirmation for someone else to promote us. Yeah. And I think it's a trap, because the trap is when you wait for someone else to do it, they may never do it, or they may not do it the way you expect it. So therefore, you feel like you're missing out. And I think the key is self-promotion is not self-glorification. They are two different things. Self-promotion is saying that I have something of value to bring. I've created something of value that's going to benefit individuals, societies, or communities. And therefore, you need to consume what I'm doing. And I think the more comfortable as an author, as a creator that you get with that, then it now gives you the opportunity to really get your feet or your presence known in the areas where you really want to go to. So MBE, tell us. So what was the MBE for? What was the MBE about? For those that don't know.
So let me just give a bit of background. So my background is in computer science. I've been doing computer science for the last 29 years. And I set up the organization Academy Achievers. I'm an author. She disrupts in STEM and AI industry. And literally, it's about me promoting or advocating for more Black women and girls in STEM and AI, Web3 careers, because we want to see more representation. We want to see women develop and improve their confidence in digital literacy. We wanted to get the job because, according to the World Economic Forum, there's going to be 295 million AI robotic jobs. And we need to be included. If not, if we're displaced, what's going to happen to us? We're going to go further into poverty. We're going to miss the boat. And we're going to have to deal with all the other continued inequalities in health, mental health, lack of housing, lack of the wealth gap, education attainment gap. And do we really want to go through all that again? So the MBE is literally a recognition of my work in the UK and abroad in STEM and AI, delivering it to education, training for Black women and girls. But the beautiful thing is we're inclusive, so everybody can be part of it. But as a Black woman, I am focusing on Black women now, because look what's happening. We are being treated so badly in every aspect, and it's totally unacceptable. So I'm advocating for Black women so that we don't be left behind. So Paulette Watson MBE, and I'm wearing that with pride, but it's for my Black women, and I will continue to fight the fight, making sure that we are included.
Excellent. So it's probably good if we go a bit further into that, because you have almost given us the destination. So you're the poster child of how to become an MBE, right? So for example, someone may be sitting and watching and say, oh, right, great. So she's got an MBE, I want an MBE, whether it's for vanity purposes or actually because you've made real contribution. Well, how do you even get on that? What is the pathway to becoming MBE?
I think let's go back to, because you started it, the conversation in terms of self-promotion.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to speak to that because if I didn't promote myself, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been confident to go online to be able to showcase what I've been doing. But coming
Right.
from my culture, I come from the Caribbean, Jamaica. And I remember as a child, my step granddad would say, "Oh, you're so bright, you're too bright," but not really in a positive way. It was quite condescending.
Mm.
And we was never really allowed to talk about what we've done. I was always shut down, and that really had a little bit of an impact. Whereas my dad was a person that say, you are the head and you're not the tail. So my dad always instilled that I was a leader, and he was a
Mm.
storyteller. He was an orator, and he'd
Mm.
always celebrate me. So you're going to be someone who's great, you speak well, and he's always going on about it. And I
Mm.
remember when I got my MBA,
Mm-hmm.
say 2011, I remember someone said to me, "Oh, now you've got your MBA, don't show off now." And that put a bit of a that damper on my achievement. I'm thinking, but I worked hard. Look at, I worked
And you
hard.
paid. You have to pay. Like MBA is not like a 10 grand course.
40 grand, I tell you. I worked to the point where I remember my lecturer said to me, "Paulette, your work is outstanding, and I see the work that you've done." That's what he said to me. I never forget it. And he goes, "No, you worked hard." And I think because they knew I was a single parent mother, they just couldn't understand that I was showing up, I was consistent. And I was never allowed to really talk about it. Like, it wasn't really celebrated. So really, this MBE, I won 20 odd years ago, but I was
Yeah.
never allowed to showcase and I thought, no, this is unacceptable. So now I showcase all the stuff that I do, but
Mm.
I am not just doing it for Paulette Watson, MBE. I am bringing my sisters with me.
Mm.
And I know when I bring my sisters with me, I know that they will bring the men as well. We're not leaving our men because it doesn't make sense us just being at the top. Yeah. And that's how it was. When I was at the top, I didn't see anyone that looked like me. So when I was being attacked, I had nobody to back me. So now I've got my women up there saying, "Now, Paula, we've got your back." There was an incident the other day where a lady was meant to speak, and this Caucasian man was basically called us rising stars. I'm thinking, this guy's cheeky. I know, but I didn't understand why he said that. And literally, I was so busy, and she literally wrote a letter saying she's not going to do the talk anymore. I thought, what happened? We just spoke yesterday. You seem so happy. And then when I realized that the guy was secretly abusing her, I said, "No, sis, I've got your back." I go, "If you're not going to speak, I'm not going to speak. I'm backing you 100%. And I saw how she got strength from that. Yeah, we're best friends now. But I said, "No, sister, I'm there with you. There is no way he can do this." And as a result, her and I went on to speak, did a talk, and he had to step down because everybody realized and they were able to support us. So there's unity in strength. So promote. Speak your truths, showcase your challenges, your wins, talk about the opportunities, show up every single day. But at the same time, while you're showing up, take time to do your self-care. Yeah, reflect. Do your your wellness days, and just enjoy failing, because what
Mm.
you do with it when you get up is what makes you the winner. So that's how I got my MBE. Literally, I traveled and everything. I spoke about what I wanted to do. Now I speak a lot about my book. I speak about me, my role as a mom, and it's important. And for you as well, Lucan, just keep sharing. I don't care how boring it is. There's 8 billion people in this world. Okay. And sometimes I think, I've said this story already. I said it again. So what? Keep saying it until when you refine it, because someone is recognizing, because people are messaging me, people are calling me, but how do you do what you do? So keep going.
Yeah, that's really, really good. So everyone knows now this is how you get an MBE shortcut. See, it's a quick course, you should charge for this. But no, I think it's really important because the self-promotion part is something that I think is a mental journey that people have to go on. And it doesn't just start with in the workplace, it actually starts at home. So like you said, if you're in a family dynamic where you're maybe the high achiever or you're someone that has aspirations, but for example, people haven't, there's two. So there's the people that are high achievers and they're being dimmed, but there's also people that have high aspirations but they have not achieved yet and they're also being dimmed. And I think as a community we need to get comfortable being in a being allowing ourselves to be separated mentally from the environment that we're in. So in my book I talk about this concept about generational trauma. You got to get it in there. So the reason why the generational trauma is really important to identify and address is because the generational trauma can be very subtle. It doesn't have to be something very like traumatic in terms of something that's mentally destroying you. It could just be something that is allowing you not to fulfill your full potential. So something as small as, like you said, you're too boastful, you need to like, you know, bring yourself down a peg. In their environment, it makes sense because they are actually intimidated by you. But the wider world needs to have that because you're actually bringing value to them. And that's what they value. They value that someone that's going to say, I want a promotion now. I'm ready to get promoted now because of this. And I think it's really important that it's a mental journey in order for self-promotion. So it's not just the decision is today, yes, I need to start promoting what I'm doing, but then it's also being comfortable, being uncomfortable with the fact that not everyone is going to now be in agreement with what you're promoting. Because they're going to say, but why you now? But what you have to realize, as Paul said earlier on, there's so many people around the world, the people that cling and that are interested in what you have to say, you probably haven't even met them yet. So for example, great example, 2 weeks ago, I got a message from someone on LinkedIn and they said, oh, I love the stuff that you're doing. We should connect. These people are based in the United States. Random. I have people in the States, but you know, I'm not really like, I didn't know. So they liked my interviews that I did in 2021. I'm like, that's a long time ago. But that stuff has been out for a long time. And I didn't get the views, I didn't get the subscriptions I was expecting. However, someone was watching. Now, in the space of 2 weeks, I've connected with some really incredible people amongst the tech community, the Black tech community in the States, which is now going to support my new podcast, which is called AI Up, where we're talking about AI news and AI business. And we're speaking to founders and investors, which is really cool. But it all goes to show that because I was self-promoting and it was a journey of self-promoting, putting myself out there as a podcast host, and now open the door for someone to recognize our work. And now we're going to have visibility to do so much more than I expected. And that is just something small. Just, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. And someone will eventually like it. And they did. And the rest will be history.
And we're here. This is where we are today. Yeah. And I just want to also speak to that generational, curse, trauma, is because I had to deal with that. And it wasn't easy. So for anyone listening, seriously, I'm not just telling you to go out there and start just, speaking online. I've actually done it, and I understand the challenges that comes with it. But please, you have to, I tell you how to get over it is to just encourage yourself. Just say that, you know what I have to say is valuable and it's going to impact someone. And trust me, when you've done it, you will feel so relieved and you will see the benefits because people will come back to you. Like, look at Lucan's success story. 2021 when he did that, this is what he was hoping, but time, and also it takes time as well. So sometimes when you do things, it doesn't happen straight away. It has to develop organically. And that's what's happening with us. Things are happening organically, and so just go out there and plan, but make sure you give an appearance and have your voice and show up.
Absolutely. And I think also it's which I think is really important in what you're saying about showing up. Not everyone that shows up, which you'll find out are not SMEs, but show up anyway. And sometimes some people don't show up because they feel like they're not qualified. But what happens is you just have to kind of take yourself on the journey of learning where your space is, and then you now carve it out for yourself. So if I didn't do that first podcast in 2021, 2022, I wouldn't be doing the one I'm about to do now. But because of what I know now, it's easier to now show up and know exactly what it's going to be. And I think it's that giving yourself the break of saying, okay, you don't have to know everything in that sector. Because I know, especially now, there is a big algorithm push for, they don't care about the personal content, the life story stuff. They just want the what's it called, the contribution to thought leadership in terms of the subject matter that you're interested in. So therefore the algorithm is shifting. So the key thing is, you don't have to feel like you don't have to be the SME. Because even writing my book, I felt a bit, maybe I should get to another level of success before I start writing. But I just said, let me just do it. Once it's done, it's done. And even the funny thing is, writing the book now, I've grown so much and I've got so much more to write, but it'll have to be in another book because that chapter, I can't add any more words to that book. And
what, another one?
Oh no, I have. I'm starting in September. I've got another one there. Don't worry, that one's coming. Yeah.
See, and just keep writing. And
Yeah.
you know, and guys, you know, literally have a support or an accountability buddy. And I have one. Lincoln's my accountability buddy for my books, writing my books. And there's times when I want to throw in the towel, and he's like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" And just having someone to encourage you and support. And it works both ways. I can't expect him to just support me and I don't support back. So make sure you've got that network of people around you, because if you don't, it's going to be a real struggle. And in this day and age, we can't continue like we were doing before, you know, working, was it in silo? We've got to work together and share our differences, but also be tolerant of each other. And I think that's the key to success. And I'm excited. I'm here for it. You know, I'm here for it, as my daughter would say. I'll wait. I'm here for it. What are you talking about?
Love.
Oh.
So yes, so this is ends another. That's time's really gone really quickly, but it ends another episode of Becoming a Disruptor. We'll definitely be back next month with something really exciting and maybe a special guest. But yes, if you guys want to learn more about what the process of writing a book, the different things that you're considering, please reach out to myself and Paulette on LinkedIn and Instagram and all the other places we are, and we'll be happy to support you in any way that we can. Any final thoughts from you? And look, there we go.
Get my book. My fourth one's coming out shortly, but get this book. If you want to understand, or your starting place for understanding AI and understand the oppressive algorithms, what does it mean for you as a Black woman? Get my book and read it. And then in September, when Lincoln's book is out, get that book as well, just to, you know, whet your appetite so you can get involved with this conversation. Because the whole point of having our monthly session is that by next year, we're building an ecosystem. By next year, we'll be so confident that we're talking and answering questions. We'll be holding other organizations, government leaders to account. And that's the aim of this.
Excellent. Yeah, put the link, definitely put the link for her book in the chat, and we'll see you next month.
Bye.
Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.